I once fell off a Segway in Santa Monica on the promenade and broke 5 ribs and partially collapsed my lung. And I thought then that would be the most painful and embarrassing thing I've ever had to endure. But I've got a feeling what's about to happen is going to eclipse it.
Well, Piers, you're still 2 points ahead. And Ali and I, especially early on, said, hold on, whoa. Yes, it's in City's hand, who were magnificent last night. But a lot of things, we know football's a strange old game. There's still a lot to play for, and Arsenal are still ahead.
Well, look, we choked a 2-goal lead against Liverpool. We choked a 2-goal lead against West Ham. We struggled to even draw with Southampton. And now we've been absolutely destroyed by Manchester City. And that's 4 in 4 games. So I'm afraid there is no easy way to say this, but we have bottled it. And I do think it comes down to mentality. We've got the ability, we've got the talent, we've got the players, we've got the youthful zest and energy. We've got all those things. I don't think that City, man for man, before they walked out yesterday, think, well, every single player is way better than Arsenal's. I don't think anybody thought that. Otherwise, why would we be 5 points clear in the league? But the truth is, after that game, every single City player played immeasurably better than their opposite number. And the best example, you've been talking about it this morning, but this kid, Akanji, is completely neutered. Saka, Saka didn't get a kick all game. He's been one of the best players in Europe this season.
Nor Martinelli, Piers. Both.
Martinelli didn't get a kick.
Yeah.
None of them. Look, Gabriel Jesus didn't get a kick. None of them did. Partey had a poor game. The defence was awful. Zinchenko disappeared. I mean, I could go on. Look, the whole team, frankly, were hopeless. And I do think it's a mental thing. I looked at the City team, even in the tunnel, I looked at them and I just thought they reminded me of those Wenger title-winning teams, the 97-98 team, that 2002 team I boasted about yesterday, the Invincibles. And I remember Paul Scholes telling me once that you get in the tunnel against those Arsenal teams and you'd look down and you just see a bunch of champions staring at you. And I think last night, Arsenal looked like frightened rabbits in the tunnel, looked over and saw a bunch of champions staring at them. And then they played like a bunch of frightened rabbits against a team that is not only are the champions right now, but they believe they deserve to be champions and they're going to be champions. And it's a mental thing. And I just looked at it last night and thought we were physically beaten. And there's no doubt Haaland and De Bruyne are the 2 best players probably in the world right now based on that performance last night. But I've got to say, we were mentally destroyed and by a team that Pep Guardiola. I mean, that moment, I tweeted it this morning. There's a moment when De Bruyne scores that first goal after 6 minutes and Guardiola explodes with joy, right? And then after about 10 seconds, he suddenly remembers that just before that goal, he spotted Ederson doing some tiny little thing he didn't like. And he pulls over Ederson and he begins to scream at him. Right? What sort of mentality is that? I'll tell you what it is. It's an Alex Ferguson. Yeah. It's an Alex Ferguson mentality, right? I can only think of Fergie's being the only one I can think of that would do that. When Aberdeen won that cup that time and he ranted about his players, it's that mentality. Win at all costs. Do what it takes. Pierce, never, ever give an inch.
Pierce, I want to ask you. You talk about mentality, right? Now, clearly, City were ahead of Arsenal last night in just about every department you could think of. And it's been well documented that Arsenal are a young side, probably the youngest side in the league. In terms of mentality, I thought their manager actually spoke very, very well after the game last night. I really did. I think Arteta got just about everything spot on. Now, mentality moving forward, how important is it that they roll the sleeves up and still believe, listen, we might think City are away with it, and the chances are they will be, but how important is it they roll the sleeves up and give it everything they've got till the end of the season?
Well, look, hugely. Look, you've got to say, unless Haaland, De Bruyne, Silva, Akanji, Rodri and Stones all suffer a hamstring problem at the same time, which rules them out for the season, I cannot see City not beating everyone in front of them. However, and it's an important however, you talk about mentality, and you're right to raise this. Arsenal have 5 games left, right? We're 2 points clear. If we were to win all those 5 games, the question then becomes, will City drop points anywhere? They've got to go away to Fulham. right, on Sunday. They've got to go away to Brighton and Brentford in the last 2 games. They're not easy games, depending on what's still at play for those teams. They're not easy games, any of them. So could City, with all their other hugely important games, Real Madrid double-header, potentially a Champions League final, potentially, of course, the FA Cup final, will their players be in the right mentality? Now, unfortunately, because of Guardiola's mentality, I think they will be, but there's a chance they could drop some points. And so Arsenal, at the very least, have got to wake up this morning, grow a pair, put the bottle job mentality to one side and try and remember the team that was there before this recent 4-game run, which has been pretty appalling. And they've got to win these 5 games, and they've got to win them magnificently. And then we ask a question of City. And all right, if City answer the question by winning all 7 of their remaining games, they absolutely deserve to be champions. But we were 5 points clear for a reason. We were 8 points clear for a reason. Right, and that team that was 8 points clear bore no relation to what I watched last night. I think most Arsenal fans, 2 of my sons went up, and it's the disappointment, really. We built our hopes up that finally, after 20 long, barren years, we had a team that could win the league. And last night, it looked like the players didn't believe they could win the league, but they still can. If you look at every one of Arsenal's title triumphs in our history, normally there are wobbles along the way. The Invincibles was the only year really where we didn't wobble.
But Ray Parlour will tell you, Piers, that there was a couple of games in the Invincible season where Ray told me we were lucky. We've been, we were the second best, but we had a stroke of luck.
Look, anything could happen. If Haaland gets injured, right? I don't want him to get injured. I never like to think that way about opposition players. But if Haaland was to get injured, they lose the most dangerous player in world football. De Bruyne is absolutely on fire after Pep gave him his big hairdryer treatment. And I just think that, look, if this team that I watched last night, this City team, if they stay fit and playing like this, they're going to be completely unstoppable. But we have to at least ask the question.
Piers, what if Arsenal don't win the league? What do they need for next season? Because the Champions League's such a tough competition. They need to strengthen in areas. Would you want Declan Rice? More clinical striker?
Definitely. I've always thought with Gabriel Jesus, he's a fantastic player and his heat map is always brilliant. He's not a 25-goal-a-season goal scorer, never has been. And I've always felt that Arsenal, we have not really had a proper out-and-out world-class striker really since Van Persie left. Right, and remember, Van Persie followed Thierry Henry with Bergkamp, obviously. Ian Wright, Nicholas Anelka. We just had a run of amazing strikers. And since Van Persie went to United, we've not had a true out-and-out 25-a-season striker. So that is an absolute priority. I think Declan Rice, particularly on his recent performances, would walk into that Arsenal team, would be brilliant for us. But I also think, you look at the bench that City had last night, it was ridiculous. And there was a moment when Smith Rowe came on, and all right, he's been injured, but he's a young player. He's not top draw yet. He may well turn out to be, but he's a young, inexperienced player. He was our cavalry. And what was the cavalry that came on with him from City?
Yeah.
It was Mahrez, right, who would walk into any team in the world right now based on his form. And I looked and there was Foden sitting there. There were all these players sitting there who are first choice. Alvarez. These are first-choice players for most teams in Europe, right? So there's a reality check about the strength of City in depth. They have, everyone knows it, they have 2 world-class players in every position. Some positions, 3 world-class players. So they are incredibly strong in depth. When Arsenal have their top 11 and they're fit and raring, we've seen what they can do. I think we've missed Saliba enormously. I think last night, God bless him, Holding did his best, but was completely out-bullied by Haaland, as many defenders are, but I think Saliba, when he's fit and going, would have given Haaland a good run for his money. So I think, look, we missed Haaland hugely, but he was the only top player we had out from our first 11 last night, and we got completely battered. There's no point in pretending otherwise. We may as well just say, yes, we got completely battered, and I want to see what's the answer from Arsenal.
Well, you're still top, Piers, you're still top. Keep the faith, keep the faith. Whatever happens, you're going to be Champions League. If you finish second, it's still been a great season. and then a rebuild in the summer. You know, it's
never
it's
a
not,
great season.
It's not all doom and gloom.
Alan, it's never a great season when you finish second.
Piers, thank you for joining us. Don't forget.
And by the way, the winner's mentality dictates you never think coming second is a good season. That's the problem. That's the problem right there, Alan Brazil.
So last night,
winning is everything.
Yes, I know. Piers was bashing Prince Harry. He's back on telly tonight from 8 o'clock. Head to Sky Channel. Harry's a City fan as well. Head to Sky Channel 522. Freeview 2 is 237. Or head to the Talk TV app.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.